Hello everyone and welcome to The Theorist, here with your host, JCBotero67. I'm back after, I'm gonna say, about a month or so. I know I did post an update like a week and a half ago, but that doesn't really count. But I do invite you guys to check it out if you'd like. It basically just talks about the different reviews that I would be posting. So obviously this is one of the first ones. Then Revelations is coming up next, and that's where I'm totally gonna fangirl over Celium, because that happened in chapter 34 of Revelations. Chapter 35, actually, I think. Anyway, Dancing with the Stars, I also predicted who I think will be the top two, so we'll see what happens there. But today we are focused on Promises, chapter 12, and I'm gonna try and keep it at a short amount of time. I don't want to keep going on it, because what I'm trying to discuss, in my mind, I'm just like, oh, okay, I can totally do this in like 2 minutes. It's like, no, I'm probably going to take a long time, but I'm going to try and keep it short. But I guess the name for the topic that I'm going to be talking about most of the time is just the coincidences with number 13. I should just name this episode that. Anyway, when Grell drops his wine glass, and it's not a regular spill that forms on the ground, it's a number 13. Right when I read that sentence, I thought about the first chapter in which number 12 is mentioned. And so if you guys recall, chapter 1, at the very beginning of the chapter, Tanaka and Jerrica are having this conversation, and they're mentioning that the count is now up to 12. So, I looked into it, and I'm like, okay, well, obviously, Ciel is not number 12. Because I know I had mentioned that in a review on Promises. I know I had mentioned the possibility of Ciel being number 12, but later on, we'll see that he's not. So the other two characters that showed up in there, obviously Sebastian, and obviously Claude. So one of them is number 12, and then of course Grell got number 13. And so now we come to the next segment of the chapter, where it's Tanaka and Jerrica again, and she asks him the following question. But we know 13 souls must fall before we can get to Ciel. How is Sebastian so special that he can do this? And so Tanaka goes on to explain that Sebastian's ancestors were a prominent family of Fultonville, which is now Phantomville. We haven't really gotten into that aspect of the history, but later chapters we will find out why the name changed and stuff. Anyway, Tanaka has a journal from one family member in specific, D. Michaelis, who, it is revealed, had a relationship with Vincent Phantomhive. And, of course, we knew this at the beginning of chapter 12, because we have that little history snippet. Back in the 1800s, these two boys had an affair. Of course, back in those days, it wasn't acceptable. But anyway, Tanaka goes on to explain another bit of history. Now, we didn't see this chapter, but obviously in future chapters, we'll get to see more about this. On Vincent's birthday, the 13 prominent families sacrificed Vincent to conjure up a demon, Asmodeus, promising their future sons in exchange for power, wealth, and protection. Now, I'm sure more ahead will read that Dee was sacrificed along with sons of the other families, unless future sons meant people in present day, because as you recall, it was a few chapters back, Aloise was saying something how he can tell how a lot of the people in this town, their souls were being fed upon. I'm starting to wonder if future sons are people in the present day as opposed to actual sons of the 13 heads back in the 1800s. And then I thought about this when I took some notes for this review to discuss these things. And I put that if the former were true, why was Vincent sacrificed? But then I thought about it, and I came to realize, okay, Vincent was sacrificed to bring up this demon, to summon him. And after the summoning happened, that's when they promised their future sons. But yes, back to the topic of this review, the coincidences of the number 13. So, if you think about it, Grell was the 13th soul that must fall. At least I think that's what it is. And of course there are the 13 prominent families. So are these souls that are to fall, the 13 souls, do they belong to members of the prominent families? Or do they have nothing to do with it at all? So I know earlier I mentioned that Sebastian could be soul number 12 that would fall, but that we can see is now not a possibility because Sebastian is the one who must kill Ciel. You know, and I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, why is Sebastian destined to do this? Is he gonna do this because he is madly in love with Ciel? Is he even aware of the mission that he has to do? Kill Ciel. I mean, I guess the connection there is that both their ancestors were actually lovers back in the 1800s. So Vincent Phantom Hive, D. Michaelis. Present day, we right now have Sebastian Michaelis and Ciel Phantom Hive. So that might have something to do with it. But yeah, the 13 souls that have to fall, the 13 families, it's kind of a coincidence. So, I mean, Grell's family could be involved here. And, of course, Ciel's family was not one of the 13 families. Ciel's family was actually poor back in the 1800s, which does away with my thought on whether Grell and Ciel are relatives or not. Turns out they're probably not, if Grell is from one of these prominent families. And then Claude. Claude could be one of the family members of a prominent family. And, Sebastian technically is, but he's the one destined to kill Ciel. So, very interesting. I mean, there's a lot of theorizing to do with this, and I could just keep going with this probably, but I don't want to drag this on. I do welcome you guys, though, to comment on this video, Facebook me, tweet me, and just share your thoughts. Do you agree with some of the things I've said? Are there other things that I did not discuss that you would want to hear or put out there? Because I really want to get a feel for what you guys are thinking with this chapter and with this fanfic in general. So we'll go ahead and leave it there, and I will catch you guys in the Revelations review. I'm super excited to record that because I'm totally gonna fangirl. But anyway, you guys enjoy your week, and I'll catch you later.